Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans of all ages, it's our pleasure to present to you the newest name in Delaware sports and sports around the world, who has had absolutely no success in the real world, so he's dedicated his life to talking sports. He's known to be prickly and very opinionated. It's time to get in the huddle with your host, Coach Muddle.
All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to a playoff Saturday. Finally, we're here for playoff Saturday. Can't wait. 3 big games today and tomorrow. So very excited for that. So we got a lot of stuff to get to, but a couple of things before we get into football. I want to jump in, cover a little baseball because we had some big baseball news. And a little college football I want to jump into as well. So I want to just cover those things real quick. Nick, you want to get into the baseball thing?
Yeah, so if you remember, obviously, it might have been 2 months ago, but after the baseball season ended, I had said to everybody, after Cohen bet the Mets, that I really thought he was going to make some big moves. And, you know, what those moves were, I wasn't sure, but I said, look, it's not a bad thing to take a flyer on the Mets because I thought maybe they bring in Bauer or whatnot. So I said at 25-1, bet the Mets to win the World Series. Well, you know, obviously 2 days ago they get Lindor and Carrasco for not a big price. So that team's much better. And that's on top of already signing James McCann and Trevor May, the reliever, and James McCann, probably the second best catcher. But still, this is why they didn't get Rio Malto, because they wanted to spend in other areas, and I'm fine with it. So I'm going to say again, look, man, double down. I mean, I bet the Mets again at 15-1. But, you know, some places they're already up to 12-1. And that's what I'm talking about when I say value. You know, I said, look, I got 25-1. Now it's all the way up to 12-1. So that's value. Because I don't think they're done. They're still talking to George Springer. I don't think they'll do Trevor Bauer because they'll get Syndergaard back, you know, around the All-Star break next year. And that's going to be a tough rotation. I know you're saying, look, why not get Bauer? And then you just got this unbelievable rotation. But I don't know that they're going to do that. I think they would rather get Springer and get another bat. But we'll see. It's look, and I know for my Phillies, it's not good, man. The Phillies are getting left behind now. I mean, the Braves and the Mets are better than them in their own division. Right. And look, the Padres are good. The Padres are good.
Yeah, man. You know, and I tell you what, though, you know, the Yankees, I think they need to sign DJ LeMahieu sooner than later. I don't know what's dragging on so long. Sign the guy. You got the Mets making all this noise across the street. I just think that, you know, let's move on. And, you know, you're not playing second fiddle to your little stepbrother.
Right. Well, Coach, I think this puts a lot of pressure on them. On the Yankees.
Absolutely it does.
I think they need to sign LeMahieu because you know it too, Coach. Same thing happens with the Giants and Jets, you know, and a little bit now the Knicks and the Nets. You fight for the headlines. You want to be on that back page.
Right.
So, you know, right now the Mets are taking over that back page. And going into the season, you know, there's going to be a lot of hype. Now, look at hype. The Knicks have a better record than the Nets right now. All the hype for the Nets. Your Knicks,
yeah,
there
baby,
you go.
The Knicks,
you know,
baby.
So I'm not all about hype. But still, I do think the Mets are going to be a good team.
Oh, I think, you know, it's going to be an interesting October in New York. I think you're going to have 2 teams, you know, in the playoffs, and we're talking about 2 teams. It's going to be fun. There hasn't been that way for over 20 years because
Subway
Series in 2000. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see. And I think that the key to the Yankees getting there is signing DJ LeMahieu. So, we'll see. They need to get on it and get with it. And, you know, and of course, I also, you know, the Padres making a lot of noise, you know, to compete with the Dodgers. So we'll see how that plays out in the West as well. But
yeah. And then real quick, do you want to get into, and then obviously we're going to go NFL. We're both excited. But can we talk real quick about Jim Harbaugh?
Yeah, that was my next thing. I just
wanted to, you know.
Because I don't understand how is that you are as mediocre can be. And, you know, you look at coaches who were there before Jim Brady Hoke,
Mm-hmm.
Rich Rod, they got shipped out without even, and now you're going to sign a guy, re-sign a guy.
The 2025
with a pay cut, granted, a pay cut. When he had one more year, make him play it out, make him earn it. Make him earn it. He didn't earn it. They're just
and Coach, doesn't that say to you you didn't do your job? You know what I mean? When you take a pay cut like he did, to me, that smells of desperation from Harbaugh to get those years. And I understand he would have been a lame duck going the next year, but he deserves it. Make him earn it. Because we all know now, Michigan
Beat Ohio State and get your contract extension.
Michigan fans were calling for his job this year. So what happens if next year you go to 0-6 when it really should have been 0-7 against Ohio State, and let's just say they have a 500 year? They're going to want him fired. So now you just gave him all those years on the end of his contract, and you might have to fire him anyway. Right. I mean, it makes zero sense. And to me, I would want him to have the pressure of being on the last year of that contract and that uncertainty. And it's crazy. They go and fire Don Brown, who, mind you, okay, they've had a top 5 defense the last few years. He has one bad year. Jim Harbaugh ships him out. The problem is Jim Harbaugh's offense. That's the problem. Yeah. The problem is Jim Harbaugh's never had a quarterback. It's not that defense.
And I don't understand how you are a quarterback and you can't get a quarterback into your program. I just don't. I don't understand it. So
yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. It doesn't make any sense. And look, they're going to pay for it. And he went from like $8 million to like $4.5. So he's taking a 50% pay cut. I don't know if, Michigan just look, the AD, I think it was, or whoever it was, said, he's still my guy, whatever. I think he's going to end up regretting it. I really do.
I agree. I just don't think you're not going to be able to right that ship. I think there's too much water on the boat right now. And I think it's done.
And to be honest with you, Coach, Michigan, I understand, look, Ohio State's really, really good. But at the minimum, they should be the second best team in the Big Ten. I think Penn State and Wisconsin are better programs right now. They're the 4th best team at best. There's some teams like Minnesota or teams like that Iowa could sneak in and be better. So I think there's a lot of questions in Michigan.
Shoot, you had Northwestern play really well this year. I mean, Indiana played really well this year. I mean, I don't know that. I think you're being generous by giving them a number 4.
No, that's what I'm saying at best. Right. I agree with you. I'm saying that's at best. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But I think that's going to be a huge mistake, and I guarantee you he's not there till 2025.
I agree. I agree 100%. I agree 100%. So now also, let's get to the real meat of the program. Let's get into some football. But before we get to the playoff games, I want to touch back. You and I talked off the air a little bit. There's still a lot of this Eagles and Giants animosity, and there's always been that, but I think this was a little bit more. It's really, really coming out.
It's added to it too, Coach, and it's going to be interesting when the Eagles go to New York next year, and if there's fans there, it's going to be. Doug might need some extra security, so it's going to be very interesting. But look, like we said, this was more than just, it's a meaningless game, whatever. Right. Eagles got a higher draft pick. Like I said, players were going to be upset, and they are. And you know how it is. How is it when, if a player quits on the team, we go nuts on him? Doug quit on his team. And, if this was where it was out of Doug's hands and he was instructed by Lurie needs to come out and say it. Because Doug has an issue with his players right now, Coach. He really does.
He really does. You're right.
Yep. Miles Sanders came out and said he disagreed with it. There was a thing. Kelsey, approached him and said, "What are you doing, Doug?" Now, Kelsey's come out and said it wasn't a confrontation. It was just a discussion. It wasn't a fight. Right. But there's rumors that players had to be restrained from going after Doug. Not to fight him, but just they were so upset.
Right.
And look, that's not good, especially when, like you said, you could see Jalen Hurts didn't like it. So you're starting off on the wrong foot with your young QB. Look, Doug's got a problem, and you don't want a chemistry problem with your coach and your players.
I agree, and I really think that this NFC East, least whatever you want to call it, is really starting to shift. You're getting the bottom is starting to come to the top, and the top teams are sinking. And I think Dallas is always going to be Dallas. They're going to be that middle of the road team until Jerry Jones gets his hands out of the pot. But I really think the Eagles are going to have some lean years the next couple of years. And I know a lot of people are going to start screaming at me about it, but I'm sorry, you're $68 million over the cap. You're not just going to snap your finger and fix that and continue to be a playoff team. It's just not going to happen. Well, and I think that Washington and the Giants are trending up right now.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. But look, a team hasn't won the NFC East back-to-back years since 2004 when the Eagles did it when they won like 4 straight. Right. So it's been a long time. You've seen back-to-back NFC East championships, a very competitive division. Now the Eagles, look, they're going to play a last-place schedule next year. So, they're going to play the last-place team in the NFC West, the last-place team in the NFC South, last-place team in the NFC North. So,
I know that the Giants are going to wind up playing a second-place schedule,
right?
Which is,
you play the Bucks, and
I talk about that all the time at the high school level. You're trying to build a program, and you want to play those cupcakes, those bottom teams to get that confidence going. And sometimes you wind up playing really well and wind up skipping a couple of steps and having to play those top teams.
If the Eagles get healthy, I mean, they can be competitive. They can compete for a division, I think, but you're losing your defensive coordinator. I don't know what's going to happen next year. I mean, look, they still have some nice pieces. You get that line healthy. Brandon Brooks comes back. Look, if Dillard can be anything at left tackle, maybe they're not bad. They need to get some weapons on the outside. The defense, I still like the line. They got a high draft pick. So, look, they could be good next year. I'm not saying, 12-4 or anything, but look, it's the NFC East. It's possible. But, I just don't know about Doug. And that's my whole issue with him. Look, people probably say, look, the Eagles fans, they're crazy. They win the Super Bowl. They make the playoffs 3 straight years. They have 1 bad year, and they want to get rid of the guy. I don't look at it like that. All 3 of these years, go look back. They've had bad starts every year. And the last 2 years, they had to climb from the back. Last year they won 4 straight games at the end against bad teams, basically. So they've had to climb out. They haven't looked good. They're under 500 since the Super Bowl. And this is, there's talent on this team. So I really think, and a lot of Eagles fans thinks this, it's almost become, how did we get to the Super Bowl with this guy? Because it's just, it doesn't make sense. I mean, they've really fallen off, and his coaching and I get it. We loved his aggressiveness, but now it's just, like I said, there's aggressive and there's dumb. When it's 4th and 4 in a close game and you're at the 4-yard line and you're down a field goal in a defensive game, you tie the game up.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense, but we'll see what happens, because obviously I don't think Doug's going anywhere, but now they got to replace the defensive coordinator. So I'm curious to see who they bring in there, and then we'll see where they go in the draft.
Yeah, what's his name from both the Raiders defensive coordinator is out there. Mike Nolan's out there from Dallas.
That's my thing with them, Coach. I would have let go of McCarthy. I mean, I think you saw it. Look at the game against you, not challenging that play. I mean, look, I don't care if the guy in the booth didn't say to challenge it. That's such a big play in the game. You got to challenge it. You got to know that as a coach. If you're not hearing what you think, if there's a chance he didn't catch that, you got to throw that flag. You don't need some guy to tell you that. It's just such a huge point of the game. And that would have taken them out of field goal range. I mean, That's the game. I mean, I don't want to, and I don't like that either. No matter what, I don't care. You're the head coach. That's on you. Right. I don't want to hear an excuse.
Right. You overrule everything.
The buck stops with you.
Absolutely. Buck stops with you. You got to take full responsibility of what happens, and I agree. I mean, you have to do that because, a lot of times I don't understand the other side of it. When a team gets that call that is a questionable call, why are you not just hurry up and run a simple dive or something to get that going so that they can't review it. Like they just don't speed up and they give them that time to do it. I just don't like that. On the other end of it.
What's up, Jay? Can you put up what Jay said? Look, Doug does suck. I agree with you. Ertz, I think Ertz is definitely gone. They're not going to pay him $6.5 million. And I wonder, Coach, because it's either he's had a steep decline. I mean, a steep decline, or he was hurt last year. I don't know which one it is, but I think they're definitely parting of the ways. Ertz wants a contract. He's not going to get it. I don't think any team's going to give it to him. I think they're all going to want to see him play next year and maybe play to a higher level and then get paid. But I wouldn't be scared if I was the Eagles. If the Cowboys are offering proper compensation, I wouldn't care to trade them to the Cowboys. It is what it is. Right now, you got to fix your team. I'm not afraid of the Cowboys. So,
but listen, it's not going to happen because look, he's going to get cut before his roster bonus June 1st. They have to cut him.
Well, I think they'll trade him.
I'm just saying, if they don't find a trade partner,
I think they will. 1 year deal. I think they will.
But he's got 1 year left, and you don't know what you're getting. I would rather if I'm the general manager of a football team, I'm going to wait. I know he's going to get cut, and rather sign him because the Eagles have to pick up the remainder. I can sign him cheap. The Eagles are picking up the rest of his balance. So
no, I mean, but you know what, Coach? If somebody wants him, they'll trade for him, and they'll give up a 5th round pick and get him. And Michael, I get what you're saying, but Wentz loved Ertz. Wentz was always looking for Ertz, so that doesn't really add up still. You know?
But I think really because of that connection, and teams took Ertz out of the equation. They just took Ertz away, and I think because they knew that that was his go-to, and you take him away, forcing him to do other stuff, and you saw Wentz couldn't do it.
Yeah.
So, but look, I also, as you bring up, Jay brings up the Cowboys, I thought a great landing spot for Ertz would be the Giants because of their, how many drops we had and just maybe the veteran leadership of Zach Ertz in that tight end room with, most of those guys are young guys. There's not really a veteran in there. Maybe it could help the kid, before we move on from him, because I just think that
Ingram has talent. It's just the drops and the drops in big spots too. Yeah, I mean, you bring up that Eagles game.
That's why, because that spotlight is huge when you drop in big spots. And then look at the Cowboy game, right off his hands, he goes for an interception. And I mean, that's not on Daniel Jones. That's on you. But Daniel Jones is getting credited with an interception when you couldn't catch the football.
Yeah, no, that's I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. It's like I said, Giants, and look, the Giants need weapons because I think they're going to keep
number one.
Yeah, they're going to keep Daniel Jones. There are some little rumors they might draft a quarterback. I don't see that. I just think they know. I think they like their team and know they're a couple pieces away from really competing. And I think they're going to give Daniel Jones one more year because it's like, what are we going to do? Start over with a rookie? Now, do they bring in a Jameis Winston or somebody, to back him up? And if he struggles, they pull him? I don't know. I don't think that would be a bad idea. You might not agree with that, but I don't think it's a bad idea because if he struggles, maybe you bring in Jameis Winston or somebody and see what they can do.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I really think the Giants go free agency for wide receiver. I think that the Bears, Robinson, hits the free agent market. I just think he's done in Chicago.
Unless they franchise him. But, yeah, I don't know if that's going to happen.
But I mean, it doesn't make sense if you're not cleaning house there. If you're not getting a new coach and you got a guy that doesn't want to be there, why?
Trubisky's a free agent too.
Well, who cares about Trubisky?
No, I know, but Coach, they need to find a QB. They
need to find a quarterback. You're right. They do, and there's going to be a lot of spots of places that need quarterbacks. And look, Sam Darnold is the guy I'm keeping an eye on because I think he's going to land somewhere in a better. Not saying the Bears. I'm saying more like Pittsburgh, more like New Orleans in those. And even Indianapolis, if they can't get the Wentz deal done, those are 3 spots that I think that guy can rejuvenate his career and be a quarterback on one of those teams.
Yeah, I honestly, Coach, I think the Jets are going to keep him, and I think I could be wrong, but if I'm the Jets, my thing would be, you know what? We've never given this kid the proper team. Let me take the tackle from Oregon, okay? Put him on the squad. You got 2 bookend tackles then. Your line, obviously they drafted the tackle last year. He had a good year. You got the kid from Oregon's going to be good, man. He's going to be a good tackle.
I agree, but if I'm the Jets and I'm going to do that, I think I'm going to try and trade back because you need a lot of pieces. And if I can trade back a couple of spots.
I don't know if you can do that with him, man. He's a stud. And after you get to 2, 3, 4, he'll get scooped up. No, but I would take the tackle and look. I would they got to get some weapons in for him, man. He's got Frank Gore's freaking 90 years old. I love him. Don't get me wrong, great career, but he's old, man. They need to get a running back. I think you'll see them address that in the later rounds, maybe a 2nd or 3rd round running back. I would sign a receiver. Maybe they go for Allen Robinson if he's out there. They need a lot, man. And they need pieces on defense too. That's the problem with the Jets. Now they do have a lot of assets. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but still, a couple of defensive guys did opt out. The linebacker, that free agent linebacker they signed from Baltimore the year before, Mosley, and somebody else also a couple of pieces will be back because they opted out. So
yeah, well, and look, Douglas is a good GM. He'll draft well. They had a good, honestly. I didn't like the kid they took, Mekhi Becton. He looked like the best tackle on the board. He looked pretty good, unless maybe you might go with the Browns, Jedrick Wills. But still, he looked good. So, and they had a nice draft.
He did look good, except the receiver Mims from Baylor.
He was hurt,
though,
right?
Most of the year. If he could have stayed healthy, I would have really liked to see what he could have done with that. So you're right. You might stick with him and go and put the pieces around him, but you need a lot there, and that's the unfortunate part of it.
Right. No, exactly. Now you want to get into the games today?
Yeah, let's get into some games now. Just to let everyone know, Stiz can't be with us today. Obviously, he put it up there. He's having some issues, but he did send me a prop bet. So we're going to put the prop bet up a little later on in the show.
Right.
So you will have a prop bet from the prop
king
master, the master prop
the prop king, man.
The prop king.
25-6, man. 81%, 82%, unheard of. So
right.
Yeah, we'll get that prop. I think it's 6 or 7 in a row as well. So. Look, man, if you're a gambling man, you want to definitely see what Stiz is going to go with. And I'll have my picks later. And tomorrow I will be giving out my who I think is going to win. I'll give, I'll obviously give the 3 games today too. But tomorrow I'll go through the 2nd round championship weekend and then the Super Bowl. So really exciting time. I love this weekend too. The next 2 weekends were always 2 of my favorite weekends, obviously divisional round and wild card weekend. Now you get an extra 2 games, so you got 3 games each day. We got football from 1 to 11, 11:30 tonight. Right, really excited for it. And it's going to be interesting. And look, I'm sure Bills fans don't like it because it's pretty crazy when you look, especially in the AFC. The Bills were 13-3, should have been on a bye. And now here they are. You can say, oh, well, at least they're playing a 7 seed. Man, the Colts are a good team.
Right, the Colts are a
know?
good team. But, and
you look it over in the NFC, Coach, and it's a much bigger discrepancy between the Saints and the Bears.
right.
So I mean, obviously, Saints a 10-point favorite. Look, anything can happen any given Sunday. We know that, but still tough game for the Bills to have the great year they did and open up with the Colts. Yeah, it is, Stiz. It's the truth. But let's start with that game, Bills Colts.
And then is that the first game of the day?
Yeah, that's the first game.
Yeah.
And
now, fans had to get there 3 days prior, had to pay an extra, I think it was $75 to the NFL for their COVID test.
Right.
To get tested by them and whatnot. No tailgating. They have a specific time to be let into the stadium. Mm-hmm. So there's going to be about 6,000 of the Bills Mafia there today.
Yeah. And look, it's going to be a big game. Look, there's pressure on Josh Allen. He had a horrible playoff game last year. If he comes in here at home, being the best team in the AFC on Wild Card Weekend here, and they lose, there's going to be a lot of criticism. He had a great year. Great year. I mean, MVP type year Josh Allen had. So there's pressure on him. I'm looking forward to how they look, because I think in this game especially, I kind of think this in all games, but still, you're really going to get a feel early on to see how, if the Bills come out and it's like, okay, just like they did against Miami, where they're coming out and it's, boom, touchdown, watch out. But look, the Colts got a good defense. The Colts got a good running game and an offensive line. And let's not forget, the Bills defense struggled earlier in the year. So the Colts are going to try to run the ball, keep Josh Allen off the field. And look, it's gonna be a good game. I mean, obviously, I like the Bills today. I think they win, but it's a concerning game. Honestly, this is the game that scares me the most for the Bills. I know that sounds crazy, but it just does. It's that first game, get it over with. Next week, you
right.
win and
you haven't been able to win a game. This is the first time you're having a home game, I think, right? In
years,
in 95s or whatever it was. So, I mean, it's gonna be a real interesting. You want to get it. You're right, and of course, it is Indianapolis who, if they can get their running game going and shorten that football game up.
Right.
The Bills could be in trouble today.
And look, if the Bills end up winning, if the Steelers win, they'll play the Steelers next week. And look, they roughed the Steelers up, and I like that matchup for the Bills. It's just with this one, it's just that playoff. You know what I mean? I would like them to get this game out of their system, get that win, get that momentum, and then you play the Steelers. And then look, if they end up playing the Chiefs or whomever in the AFC Championship, look, man, the next game, the Super Bowl, anything can happen. It's just, how it is. It's just like, it's getting over that mountain a little bit. You know what I mean? Get that first playoff win in your belt. McDermott doesn't have a playoff win either, although I love Sean McDermott. But, we'll see what happens. But I think, Josh Allen's going to come out with a big game. Stephon Diggs, what a pickup that's been. Great year.
But and of course we don't have Stiz here to get us in on it. But I heard he had an oblique injury or something. He is going to be a game time decision. Mm-hmm. Him and Cole Beasley, both game time decisions. So those are two big things to watch out for today.
Yeah, and they said he's going to play Diggs though. He said it's not as big as he said. Mike, that doesn't necessarily mean I'm picking the Steelers. I'm just saying if the Steelers do win because they're the 3 seed. Look, I think that's a tough game, but you got to know, Mike, the Browns got a lot. There's a lot to overcome. Your coach is out, your play caller. But look, the Steelers, let's be honest, except for that second half against the Colts, the Steelers' offense hasn't played well for a while. And Big Ben hasn't played well. So it's possible the Browns can win, and I'll give that pick out tomorrow. But by no means do I think the Steelers. A lot of people think the Steelers are just going to go in and kill them. I don't necessarily believe that.
I agree. That's going to be a real good. It's going to be one of those old school grudge matches, man.
Yeah, AFC North. Yep.
And I'm looking forward to that game. Excited about it. But one game that I am going to say that I'm kind of skipping ahead to is going to be Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers playing in the frozen tundra next week. I hate to say it, but
Coach,
I'm kind of excited about that.
No, Coach, but don't sleep on the Washington Redskins. I know that sounds nuts. Listen to this, Jack, Coach.
On them, but you know what? I think that Tom is the cylinders are almost kicking all the way in. There's still a couple little dings and knocks in that engine, but it's moving at a
Tom
pretty
Brady
good
in the playoffs, and with a supporting cast too. So I don't disagree with you. But the one stat I really couldn't believe when I heard it: playoff teams 500 or worse, so 8 wins or less, since 2002, 7-0 against the spread, 6-1 straight up. It's crazy.
That is crazy.
A lot of these teams that people just think, they stink. They come in that first round and sneak a win in. It's happened, like I said, 6-1. So 6 of the last 7 teams that were 500 or worse in the playoffs have won. 7-0 against the spread. So it could happen. And look, Coach, you saw it in your Giants game. The Bucs really struggled against the Giants and that defense. So look, if Washington can get pressure on Brady, force him into a mistake, but obviously, look, that Washington offense, McLaren's still banged up. Smith can't move. They even said they may rotate quarterbacks, which look, I would go with somebody. I don't necessarily agree with that. If he can't play, put Henke in or whatever his name is. But
Heineken.
Heineken. I'm going to be honest. In that game, I just don't know if Washington's offense is going to be able to score enough points. But
I agree.
Don't sleep on Washington.
I'm not going to sleep on them, but honestly, I think that we saw it last week against the Eagles. That offense was really struggling. That was really struggling. I think if the Eagles don't give them that game, totally different. I don't think they win it. I don't think they win it without the help of the Eagles throwing that game. So
No, I agree. And you know what, too, Coach, which is a shame. I do think the Giants, just because the Giants a little bit more, better, a little bit offensively. Now, look, Redskins defense is better. There's no doubt about it. But I would have loved to seen Brady versus the Giants. Giants have beaten them twice in the Super Bowl. NFC East teams, man, 3 wins against Brady in the playoffs.
That's
Not many teams are known for beating Brady in the playoffs.
That's right.
But, would have been interesting seeing Brady in New York, playing the Giants. Good game earlier in the year, 2 losses in Super Bowls to him. I think that would have been interesting to see. And I think
Brady is undefeated in the regular season, but 0-2 in the Super Bowl against the Giants.
I think you might be right. I think you're right. Yeah, I think you're right.
I don't think the Giants have beaten Brady in the regular season, so I'll have to check that out. Let's see.
Yeah. So, but now look, it'll be a great game tonight. I'm with you. I really hope, obviously, that it plays out and we have Saints Seahawks and Packers Bucks. That's what I'm hoping. And let's not forget, earlier in the year, Bucks beat the Packers 38-10. So they routed them. So, I mean, it'll be a great game to see Rodgers Brady, but you need things to fall in place. You obviously need Seattle to win too then. Because if the Rams win, Packers will play the Rams. A lot of people seem to like the Rams today.
And another Bouchane in here talking trash. Matt Bouchane.
Look, Giants had a bad year, but let's be honest, Matt, your Browns have sucked for years. And I'm not trying to, 1 year you're in and now, Eagles have got a Super Bowl that's been in the last 3 years. But, hey, look, Matt, also, too, the Browns are 11-5, but somehow have been outscored. So, they had a pretty easy schedule, Matt. But give the Browns credit. They won the games they're supposed to win. They got a nice team, but I'm not a Baker guy. I love the running game. It's a shame about Stefanski. I think the Browns have really gotten dealt a bad card this year with COVID and the injuries, and now Stefanski not being able to coach. But
and And the best part of that is no Odell Beckham, so your chances of winning have skyrocketed.
Yeah. No, and we said that, Matt. I'd love to hear, if you're still in here, Matt, what you think about that. But I said when he left, it was going to be better because Baker tries to look for him too much to appease him. And I think the Browns will move on through OBJ. I really think they were a better team without him. I know that sounds crazy to people, but they were a better team without him. Go look at Baker's stats.
Yeah.
I mean, I would definitely move on. What's going on, Jason Dean? No, and the Browns didn't beat the Raiders. So, and now that we've seen the last 7 weeks of the Raiders, too, that tells you something. Because the Raiders, without a 2-point conversion that Gruden got lucky, the coach called a timeout, and the Jets, miracle, the Raiders be 0-7 down the stretch.
Right.
So, and I'm not trying to shit on your Raiders, Jason Dean. It was just, they're better than that. That's unacceptable what they put on film the last 7 weeks. Yeah, I agree, Matt. He was a drama queen.
And he still is. Still
is.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out, So
yeah, I mean, and like I said, I just can't believe they're 11-5. So you're 6 games over 500, and you've still been outscored. But like I said, they've beaten the teams they should beat. But you look at their wins. I mean, look, let's be honest. Got kind of lucky that last week that Pittsburgh sat their starters and they barely beat them. Now I know they got screwed in that Jets game, but the Browns were still better than the Jets. They shouldn't have lost that game. Now, look, they did lose all their receivers. I'm not saying that was fair, and if they had their full complement of players, I think they win. Jason Dean, I think that's possible too. Look, I really believe this. Between the Colts, the Redskins, and the Browns, I think one of those teams is going to win. I really do. It always happens. There's an upset on Wild Card Weekend.
Right.
I'm not sure what team it's going to be, but I think one of those three will end up winning. It's just how it falls, I mean, look, last year I think 3 of the 4 road teams won on Wild Card Weekend. Obviously Tennessee beat New England last year. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, and Jason Dean, it is going to be tough.
It's going to be tough, but you know what? He's in this day and age of technology, he's going to have an earpiece, he's going to be connected to the team. He's still going to have his card in front of him. He's still going to be telling whoever is calling the plays what plays to call. It's not, he's not like, completely isolated from the team. Obviously, physically he is, but, he will be there. They'll be able to hear him. So I don't think it's as big a deal as it would have been 10 years ago. Let's put it that way, so.
Yeah. And then obviously the other game, the last game, Michael, I think that's a good point. I don't understand why they don't let him sit up in a box. And even if he's by himself, and let him call plays. What can that hurt? If you got to wheel him in a box, wheel him in a box. You know what I mean? Let him get in a box and wheel him into the stadium.
Yeah, that's the problem is getting him in there and doing all that stuff. But you know what? He'll probably be sitting in a room in his house with a big giant TV with the feed, and I'm sure he'll have a headset on and he'll be able to call plays to whoever's on the sidelines and
they ain't gonna do that because there's a delay. I mean, it's gonna. That's
yes, but there's no delay in your headset. There's no delay.
He's not, Coach. He ain't calling plays from home. That ain't happening.
All right.
I'm just saying it's not. And look, that's a big deal.
Okay. If you don't think so, then you go back to whatever bottle you're sipping from.
Bottle. You think he's gonna call plays from home?
Look, if you think that he is sitting at home twiddling his thumbs watching the game,
he'll be watching the game. And I'm sure you might give input at halftime or something, but he's not going to be calling plays.
He's going to be absolutely discussing it. Okay, yeah, exactly. We'll see. All right.
He's shaking his head.
All right.
It's your double chin. I got 3, though. So.
You still beat me, so,
Now, let's get into the Seattle game. I'll tell you, I don't think Goff's going to play today. A lot of people – man, everybody I'm hearing like the Rams today. I'm hearing a lot of people love the Rams. So Jason Dean's got Buffalo, Green Bay. Like I said, JD, I'll be giving – well, I think Jason Dean already, but I'll be giving out my Super Bowl game tomorrow.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You're on 16 different shows giving out picks, man. Everybody
I'm
knows
on 16
it's
different shows.
It's not some surprise. I mean, geez, man.
I'm not on 6. Shut up, Coach, with his crying over here. But no, I'm looking forward to Mark about my look. Everybody's wondering because let's not forget who called the Super Bowl last year. You know what I mean? Who was that, Coach? Coach was Baltimore can't lose. Baltimore can't lose. They're just so much better. Him and Billy. That's all I heard. Baltimore's so
You're
good,
right.
and I said
You're
Baltimore's going to lose. You did.
You're right. I'm agreeing with you, man. I'm agreeing. Hey.
Yeah, and so into that Rams game, and look, Jason Dean, you're right about that. Ramsey's played real well, and the Rams have had the Seahawks number. But man, you got a young kid with one start under his belt versus Russell Wilson. And Coach, I'm going to give up my pick. You want to put that up or you don't?
Yeah.
Okay, so this will be my first pick today. I'm going to take the Seahawks. A lot of people like the Rams. If you have 3, buy the hook, take it down to 2.5. Look, it just comes down to these two teams just played. It was a close game. Seahawks won. It was in Seattle. Obviously, this game's in Seattle. But now you got a young rookie QB, and I know some people, he looked okay, but they still only scored 11 points on Arizona. They had a pick 6 last week. They scored 11 points on Arizona in a huge game. I mean, I just can't pick the Wofford over Russell Wilson. I just can't. And Russell's been really good in the playoffs. I think he's 6-1 at home in the playoffs. I know he struggled. He has. Russell Wilson, from what he was in the beginning of the year and then the last 5 weeks, he struggled. He really has. But that's because, like I said, he's getting pressured too much. They're asking too much from him. He's the most sacked quarterback in the NFL. And that's how the Rams are going to beat him. If they get pressure on Wilson, get him into a mistake or two, keep them, under 20 points. Look, the Rams got a shot, but I'm not going to bet Wofford over Wilson. I don't even know the kid's first name. I just know his last name. But yeah, I'm gonna go with Russell Wilson at home. I like Seahawks -2.5. I do think it's going to be a close game. I wouldn't even be surprised if Seattle only won by a point or two. But my money's going to be on the Seahawks that they win by a field goal or more. I'm not going to, bet a QB with one game in his belt going into the playoffs against Russell Wilson.
I agree with that 100%. So, all right, good stuff. There's the first game for you here.
Yeah. And then you want me to give you the other one too?
Or you want to go right through it?
Yeah.
You want me to, and then we'll
so
see.
my next one.
Business one.
I'll get that too. But my next game, it's a tease. I'm going to take 2-team tees. I'm going to go with the Bills first, obviously, at Pick'em. So Bills at Pick'em. And then I'm going to go with the Bucks tonight, -1.5 in a tease. Just because I would bet the Bills straight -6. I do like the Bills, but I really like them at pick. I do think they're going to find a way to win this game. Now, Tampa, I like them at 1.5, but I think Redskins, I would bet the Redskins +7.5. I wouldn't lay the 7.5 with Tampa Bay. I think Washington's going to keep this game closer. I think their defense is going to have success. I think they're going to put pressure on Brady. Look, that's a good defense. So, but I do like I said, I like the tease. I think Tampa Bay and Buffalo find ways to win the game. So I'm going to go Buffalo pick, Tampa Bay -1.5. But like I said, I do like the Bills. I don't want to lay the 6. Colts are a good team, man. They play good defense, got a running game. I think they're going to try to, I think the Bills are going to win this in the second half. I think this is going to be a close game. I wouldn't be surprised if the Colts are up early. And, they're going to try to stretch, really much like the Bills happened to them with your Giants in the Super Bowl. Frank Reich's going to try to shorten this game. I mean, if he knows what he's doing, he's going to try to shorten this game. Returning to the team that he led in the playoffs, Frank Reich. If you remember the
the biggest comeback against Houston.
38-3, right? Yep. So, I think he's going to try to shorten the game.
Which leads us to Stiz's prop bet here.
Right.
Let's hold on before we get to it. I got a couple.
And real quick, Coach, one thing about the Bills. Frank, what the fuck? I lost my train of thought. Put his prop bet. I'll get my train of thought back. Sorry, I lost my train of thought.
Right. So prop bet of the week, and of course, 25-6 since the Super Bowl.
Right.
So he's going this week with and his quote. I'm quoting Stiz, pulling this one out of my ass. It's Jonathan Taylor over 77.5 rushing yards.
So if he wins this one, we're just going to call him the magician.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he just pulled it out of his ass. Looking for 26 and 6, and he just pulled one out of his ass. So he'll be Marchman the magician. We'll call him Stiz. But no, I mean, and look, one thing I'll give out.
You can hire him for kids' birthday parties.
I like Jonathan Taylor. And look, you're going to see a lot of Jonathan Taylor today. I like Jonathan Taylor to score a touchdown. I think it's minus 125. I think he scores today. I mean, the Bills are – I mean, look, he's really kind of – it hasn't been against a great schedule, but he's really come on here late. You know, he struggled a little earlier in the season, but he's really been coming on, playing well. So I think you're going to see a lot of Jonathan Taylor. And what I was going to say, Coach, when I lost my train of thought, what I think is going to happen, much like I said in the Super Bowl last year, you're going to need Phillip Rivers. He's really struggled in second halves this year. And you're going to need him to make a play in the second half if the Colts are going to win. And I just don't know that Phillip Rivers is going to be able to do that. So that's what I think it's going to come to. I think you're going to see a close game late, but I don't think they're going to need Phillip Rivers to make a play. I don't think he's going to. But maybe I'm wrong. But I think that's what it's going to come down to.
I don't know. Was Frank Reich still part of the team on the last playoff game for the Bills that was played in Buffalo?
Well, they played in the playoffs last year. Oh, no,
Buffalo game in Buffalo. It's been like 95, right? 95 was the last. I think because I know didn't he move on to Carolina after that? Was he Carolina or somewhere?
I think you're right. Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
But
I'll look it up. But no, because that was 95 because their last year was on the road, and then obviously the miracle at the Meadowlands, or no, it wasn't Miracle at the Meadowlands. What was that stadium? You remember with Tennessee where they
no, that was the home game. That was a home game.
Was that in Buffalo?
That was in Buffalo. Yes, that was in Buffalo. Yes, that was in Buffalo.
I don't know about that.
Oh, that was
99. So then that was in. If
you're
right,
Houston. They were still the Houston Oilers.
No, they weren't. They were Tennessee then because they made the Super Bowl that year. I'd bet everything I got on that. Trust me. They were the Tennessee Titans. It was McNair was a QB. They made the Super Bowl that year. Look it up, Coach. I guarantee you.
But how could they have made the Super Bowl if they lost that game?
Tennessee won.
No.
Yeah, they did. Tennessee. I'm talking about where they the kickoff, Coach.
Oh, I thought you meant back when.
Not the comeback. Yeah, they were the Oilers to come back. I'm talking about when they ran the kickoff back. Remember?
Right.
It was in Tennessee. Yeah, 99. Wade Phillips was the coach of the Bills. Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, okay. My bad. I was confused. I thought you meant that.
Right. And that's the year the Titans went on to play the Rams in the Super Bowl. Yeah, right. Dyson, from what was his name? I'm drawing a blank. The tight end. Was it Frank something?
I can't remember.
Oh, man, the tight end's going to drive me nuts. Somebody remembers the tight end who threw the ball backwards to Dyson. That's going to drive me nuts. I'll look that up. But no, Frank Reich.
White check?
No, but you're right. He was on the Panthers in 95, so he was not on the team. This is going to drive me crazy. I'm looking it up right now. Titans, tight end, 1999. Here we go. Let's see. Frank Wycheck.
Thank you.
Right. You didn't say it right. You didn't pronounce it right. You said like Mychek or something.
I said Wycheck. I said Frank.
I didn't hear it right then.
And then I went Wycheck. Hey,
I gave it first name, so that's what helped. Frank. I knew it was Frank.
I got the guy. I said it. Thank you. Oh,
Coach is right one time in his life now. Look at this. Go ahead. Look, he's throwing a parade.
Only once, buddy. Yeah. Only once. You only need to be right once, man.
Brutal. Yeah, so obviously, once again, my picks, I'm going to go Seattle minus 2.5. If it's 3, some books have 3 by the hook. Take it to 2.5.
Yeah, Nevada really posting those picks up on social media after the show.
But, so buy that hook, though. If it's 3, buy that hook because I would not be surprised if this game lands on a field goal. It's going to be a close game. But like I said, I'm going to go with Russell Wilson over our boy Wofford from the Rams. And then, like I said, I'm going to go Bills pick, Bucks minus 1.5. And Stiz will tell you, man, we need it. We both got some big money I love that tease, so I got big money on it. So looking forward to, and look, the Bills. Let's not forget, man. Nevada Nick gave that out at the beginning of the year when the Bills were 25-1. And if somebody wants proof, I'll screenshot my bet for you. I took the Bills at 25-1, so I need them to win and advance. I'm praying for a Saints-Bills Super Bowl because I have the Saints to win the Super Bowl and I have the Bills to win the Super Bowl. And if they get into that game, guaranteed money for Nevada Nick. So that's the Super Bowl I'm rooting for. I will give out the Super Bowl I think is going to happen tomorrow.
All right, sounds good. Good stuff. Everyone, thanks for checking us out this morning.
Coach,
on Saturday.
Real quick, what are your picks today? You didn't give them. Since you're Mr. Right all the time, you're one time. Who do you got today? You don't have to go point spread. Just give me straight up.
I like the Bills today. I like Tampa Bay today. I'm kind of agreeing with you. And in Seattle.
Like usual.
I'm
on my back, Coach, like usual. Just take all my picks. So you.
Look, I'll tell you, I agree. There's no way that a kid who's gotten one football start in the NFL going to go into Seattle and beat Russell Wilson. And the one that concerns me really is the Buffalo game because I think, Frank Wright's got him playing really good. And, but I really think Tom Brady's the GOAT. He's going to go in and take care of business because, that's what makes Tom Brady the GOAT. I think he adjusts that offense will adjust to that big defense today. And,
right.
And I don't think Washington's offense will be able to, they'll just be stuck in the mud. So,
right.
So we'll see, and you know what? How about this? How about tomorrow? I'll give out my picks before you give your picks out tomorrow.
That works for me.
This way you can't say that I'm just piggybacking.
We'll have you text them to Stiz, and Stiz can confirm them so that we'll make sure. But yeah, and obviously Stiz will be with us tomorrow, and he'll have some prop bets tomorrow, hoping he can pull one out of his ass literally today and make it 26-6. And if he does, man, unbelievable. But yeah, awesome. And then I'm gonna try to get these guys to come out on a limb and put their Super Bowl picks up too. So I'll definitely be giving out my Super Bowl pick. Hopefully, I can get Coach to do what he did last year and be wrong again. So we'll see what happens.
I'll do it. So all right. Yeah.
The problem is he don't know how to swim.
I can't swim.
That's Coach for you.
Yep, there you go. All right, guys. Great show. Thanks. Make sure you go over to YouTube, ring the bell, subscribe, like the page. We appreciate everybody checking us out on Twitter and YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those. Coach Muddle, Nevada Nick _Nick. If you want to reach out to him, he'll be putting that out on Twitter here shortly, his picks and stuff. So look forward to that. So everyone have a great night. Enjoy some football, and we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Have a good day, Jason Dean.
All right. Yeah, Jason Dean. See you, buddy.